Hey, in this video, we're going to talk about how to use Montessori materials that are available online, so virtual materials, and help children develop fluency in understanding place value and in how quantities relate to numbers. Being able to understand how quantities and numbers are related is one of the first skills that children develop in mathematics, and thereon understanding place value and how the place value system works is crucial to developing higher skills such as working with fractions, percentages, manipulating numbers using operations like division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. So let's get into it. Hey everyone, so I'm just going to quickly show you one of the apps that we're going to be using. And as you can see up here, it's called Virtual Montessori Materials. The website is montessoritools.org. So it's got a number of virtual replicas of Montessori material. So this is just to make sure that the children have something more concrete to work with when we do math. And the thing that I showed the children yesterday was this activity here called Golden Beads. And Golden Beads is something that you will have seen if your child has been to a Montessori before. Parents and children who've been with us have definitely seen this at our workshops. And if you haven't seen this, no worries, because I'm going to explain how this is used. So this is actually an activity which is introduced early on in preschool to 3 and 4-year-olds actually. So most children who are in grade 1 and 2 have usually worked with this a fair bit. And the idea behind this activity is to give children a very good sense of relating the numbers with the quantities. So when they start working with it, what teachers do is they would drag these little beads down in one column like that, and then they'd attach the number to it. So these are actual sort of wooden plates that the teachers would use. So they'd say, okay, that is 1, and this is 2, and this is 3, and so on and so forth, right? And then these are just ones, right? So when you think of place value as ones, tens, hundreds, and thousands, these are ones. Then you've also got tens, right? So that's 110. Okay, so 110 is just that. This is 110, right? But then what you also have is you can have many tens. So you can have, for example, you can have 3 tens, right? So you can have 3 tens. So I'm just going to line them up. And yeah, so let's say we have 3 tens there. So 3 tens is actually 30, right? So you drag that out like that. So this is basically how we use this website in order to get children to understand how numbers relate to quantities. Now this is actually 10 tens. So if you notice, there's 10 of these 10 bars, right? The 10 bead, there's 10 of them. So when we do it with the children, they very quickly realize that 10 tens make 100. And this is actually 1,000 block, right? And 1,000 block is, of course, it's 10 hundreds. So if you think of, these are actual beads, right? And if you think of them as like a layer, this 1,000 block is actually 10 layers of these 100 beads stacked on top of the other. So it's an actual cube, right? And when they work with it in school, the children actually work with the cube. So this is an activity where you have your ones, your tens, your hundreds, and your thousands, and you can put all of that together and work with material. And this is just a good activity to get children to really practice their knowledge of place value. And place value is one of the most important concepts in math, because it goes into virtually every aspect of mathematics, which is, all of your manipulation using addition, subtraction, division, multiplication, and then as you get even more advanced in terms of your fractions, in terms of decimals, percentages, all of that requires very good knowledge of place value. So this is why we use it. And I'll quickly show you sort of one way. So if your child has excellent knowledge of place value, you probably don't need to use this. But if you do feel like your child might need some practice, here is how you can do it. So you can just drag some of these from the top. So let's say I have 200s here, and I have 3 10s. Right, so I have 3 10s, and let's say I have 4 1s. So that's 1 1, that's 2 1s, that's 3 1s, and that's 4 1s. And then you'd actually ask the child, okay, so how many 1s do you see? And the child would count 4, and you take it across and you put it there. And you say, okay, how many 10s do you see? They might say, okay, I see 3 10s. So mostly at this point, grade 2 children know that 3 10s is 30, 4 10s is 40, 5 10s is 50, and so on. But in case your child doesn't know that, well, you can just help them along. But again, this is something they pick up very quickly. So given this is 3 10s, I'm going to drag 3 10s across and put it there. Right? So I've got my 3 10s here. Right? And then I have my 200s. So my 200s is here. So I put that there. So I put that there. Let's go there. Yeah. Right. So I have my number there. So I have my 200s and my 3 10s and my 4. And now what I can do is I can actually sort of drag this so that it's, it covers the 10s. And then I can drag this so it covers the 1. So you actually get your final number, which is 234. Right? So this quantity here that we have is 234. So you can give them sums like that. You can do it both ways. You can first drag the quantities down and say, okay, make the number. And then you can do it the other way. You can say, hey, I'm going to give you a number and you need to tell me how much the quantity is. Right? So when they would do that, what they would actually do is they would split up and say, okay, how many 1s do I have? Okay, I have 4 1s, fine. How many 10s do I have? Okay, I have 3 10s. How many 100s do I have? Okay, I have 200s, and then they drag the corresponding quantity.